What's up, people? Welcome back. Today's day 19 and today's a doozy because today we're talking about how to reverse engineer popular blends. All right, it's not about guessing what's in there, it's about actually breaking it down, figuring out the formula, and then improving, making it better, tweaking it, and just not copying verbatim. All right, so let's jump into it. So you ever tasted a seasoning like a spice blend and you're like, man, I wonder what's in it? Let me show you how we chefs break it down, right? Like, this is something I do on a regular basis. The minute I go out to eat, I travel and I try something, I'm like textbook. I'm just analyzing, like, okay, they put vinegar in there, there's some cardamom, I can taste, cumin, and you just start breaking it down. All right, so we're gonna go into it. This is the fun part. So the first thing to do to figure this out like a pro is to read the label like a pro. All right, rule of thumb is, and I would say this is like 9 out of 10 times, the first 3 ingredients are like the backbone of the mix, right? They are predominantly the most ingredients in the mix, and this is by weight. So this is where you want to pay attention to how they list the ingredients. Sometimes they might play around with 1 or 2 ingredients, but they more than likely, the first 3 have to be the ingredients that carry the most weight. All right. Number 2 is identify the most dominant flavor. So are you tasting smoky? Are you tasting sweet? Are you tasting savory? Are you tasting umami? Like, what is that? So read the label, taste, and then think about what you're tasting. Automatically, that will give you a really good heads up in terms of what they used a lot of and what direction they're going in terms of what they listed first and then what you're tasting first, right? What carries the blend throughout as you're tasting it. All right, so with number 3, you want to break them into flavor zones, right? So you want to think about what flavor zones are being filled in terms of what's the salt coming from, what's the sweet, what's the heat coming from, what's the umami, what's the citrus acid or the citrus coming from, citric acid, like what is filling those flavor zones. And once you're able to identify that, and then you want to always reference the label, right? Reading the ingredients. So based on what you're tasting, based on what's filling these different gaps, right, these pockets of flavors, you're able to then tell what are being used and how much of it's being used. So number 4, you want to look for the secret weapon, right? This is that hidden flavor profile that's there, and with this, it's one of those things where it can literally, this is what allows them to have this beautiful blend, right? So that can be something citrus, that can be something sweet, something salt, or it could be like a fenugreek situation, which is really amazing if used correctly, right? And fenugreek, you can use it with sweet or savory. So it really just depends on identifying what that secret ingredient can be. But then, of course, you always have to refer back to the label, because when you refer back to the label, you're going to be able to say, well, based on what this blend is, this is not something that I would have normally put in it. So that's how you can kind of tell what that secret ingredient actually will be. So now you want to rebuild, and you want to do this in layers, right? So now is where you put all of these different flavors together that you've come up with. What are the dominant flavor? What is the support system flavors, right? The different pockets that you are able to figure out. Now you put that blend together based on what you tasted very strongly versus what was very faint, the supporting base, the onion, the garlic, whatever it is it some celery, salt, what are those flavor profiles that you need to put together? And then once you're able to figure that out, you are now able to really rebuild this in a way that's very similar to what you've tasted. So a lot of it goes off of your palate. A lot of it comes from the fact that you're able to read the label, and then as you taste, you're able to say, well, the salt was very high here, but then as soon as I get the salt, I get the acidity or I get the sweetness, right? So once you're able to do that, and then when you're rebuilding, you're doing small batches at a time, right? You're doing very small amounts. So like a teaspoon, a tablespoon, so you don't end up with this massive mix that might not necessarily come out really good the first go around, right? So start with a very small batch when you're rebuilding these flavors. So if you're building this from like a commercial brand, something that's just very generic, but you really like it and you feel you can do something better, then this is the opportunity for you as you're rebuilding to leave out the things that you thought might have been unnecessary, and then either improve on it, leave it out, add something else that will really bring up the flavor even more, and then from there you're able to create your version of it, and hopefully that version is better, right? Then number 7 will be, how do you improve it, right? And this is touching off of number 6. Once you have created these flavors, you want to check to see, is there more brightness that's needed? Is there more salt? Is there more smokiness, right? Do we need more acid? Like, what is it that's missing? Is it flat somewhere, shape, or form, right? Do it come off really bland in the beginning, but then later on it's lingering? Do we need some more heat, right? And is that heat coming from cayenne pepper? Is it coming from chipotle? Like, what peppers do we need to add? So it really just depends on the blend that you're rebuilding. And once you know what those ingredients are, how do you, one, improve, update, and make better what it is that you're rebuilding? Re-engineering, reverse engineering is not so much about guessing as it is knowing why these ingredients are being put together to create this flavor. Once you can figure out why these ingredients are being married together to create this delicious mix, then you're able to update it, you're able to improve and finalize something that's even better. But you have to understand why these ingredients have been put together and why this much of this one, this much of this much of this, right? Like, those are the whys you need to figure out. Once you can figure that out, you will be able to create something that's just as good, if not better. I'll catch you next time.